Hello friends, welcome to TMXC Adventures. Lisa here. Today we're going to talk about grating in our Thermomix. Now, I don't know about you, but when I go shopping and I buy blocks of cheese, a lot of times I come home and I grate a portion of it. Now, it is made really simply on a TM6 and TM7 with our chop function. If you're on a TM31 and a TM5, I'm going to teach you today how to do that as well. I've got two different types of cheese here. I've got the hard Parmesan, because that's generally what we buy to make things like cheesy puffs and go into sauces and things like that. And then I've got the standard tasty cheese. Okay, so they are different in how you grate them because one is softer and one is harder. Okay, so let's talk about the modes on the Thermomix. So if you have a TM6 or 7, you have chop mode. Now chop mode is underneath. If we push our little blade symbol on our TM7, it lives under there, and I can come straight down into it, and I can come straight down and find cheese. When I click on cheese, it says, do you want to grate it? Because of course our chopping mode on our TM7 is also a steaming mode. So if it was something like cabbage, do you want to chop the cabbage or steam the cabbage? So it's going to give us both. But in this case, we just want to grate it. Do you want to do a medium hard cheese or do you want to do a Parmesan? So I'm going to do the Parmesan to start off with. I'm also going to talk about those of you with a TM31 and TM5, how you do Parmesan cheese in your Thermomix as well, okay? So it tells you here the quantities. I actually find this super handy because I am someone who tends to push the boundaries a little bit. So it's nice to know that I can actually grate 250 grams without it compromising on the output of what I get. So if I go too much, say I put 500 grams in, chances are the bottom will be nice and grated, the top will be still hard chunks. Okay, so that's really nice to know that, you know, that's kind of the maximum amount able to be done. So I do know I've got 200 grams of Parmesan today, so I'm not going to pick the 50 to 150. I'm going to pick, and by the way, let me just show you the screen. So you've got your weights. You can choose which one you like, and I want the big one because I know I've got 200 grams. Then I go tick. Oh, hang on. Have I broken it? No, I haven't. I can bring up my scales now and actually weigh in just to show you that I do have 200 grams. Weigh in that. See, 200 grams. Now it's got 14 seconds on speed 10 to do that portion of cheese grating. Okay, so I'm going to put my lid on. I do have a lid cap on a TM7. I can't find it, but it actually doesn't have a hole there, so it's fairly okay to use like this. 14 seconds, speed 10. I can now close that off and I can press my play button and it's going to whiz around and do this. Now, if you are on a TM31 or a TM5, you need speed 10 as well. Okay, so speed 10 for hard cheeses to end up with powder like you'd remember. Now I'm going to show my age here. Do you remember, was it called Faster Pasta back in the 90s? They used to have on the table, and I think you can still buy it, like a shaker of Parmesan cheese, right? And it's like a powder. That's what we're going to get out of this in a second. So I'm going to press play. I'm going to grab a container to put this in, and I'll see you in 14 seconds to put it in the container. I'll see you in a sec. And it sings to say I'm done. Even if you've got a smaller portion, now that's a whole square block of Parmesan because generally we don't use Parmesan in any other way except for grated, right? Like it's very rare that we use it, like we don't munch on it or put it on sandwiches like you do with a tasty cheese. So I like to just grate the whole block. It's then ready for whatever I want. If you have a smaller portion left over, I reckon, what do they say for that? I think it's going to be, I've taken the lid off. Hang on a second. I think it's 10 seconds on the smaller portion. So if I go tick, nope, still 14 seconds. Okay, I reckon 10 seconds. Those of you who don't have a mode to follow, 10 seconds, speed 10, will do a beautiful grated Parmesan if you've got a smaller portion. So look at that. It is grated and it looks like powder. Okay, so in this goes. Now I put this in the freezer, all right, because now you've got a multitude of surface area for mold to grow. Okay, so same with things like your mince and stuff. You know, as soon as you chop a product up and you've now got the air touching all its different sides, it is going to go off faster. Okay, so lid will go on that, it'll go in the freezer, and I'll just use it as I want. If I'm using it in the next day or two, it'll be all right. And even Parmesan, takes a lot more to make it expire because it's such a hard cheese. It has no moisture in it to kind of go rancid and off. Tasty cheese, on the other hand, yes. So we're going to go back in the steps. We're going to now check a medium hard cheese. Now it says how much. Now you'll see we can go up to 300 grams with that. It says remove the rind. Now I have a tasty, so it's not a medium hard cheese. It's actually relatively soft, but if I go back, let me just check. I have a funny feeling there are no other soft cheese options, okay? Just having a look on here, which kind of makes sense, right? The softer the cheese, the more gluggy it's going to get. Now, I have whipped tasty cheese accidentally and made the most amazing cream cheese spread more than once. Not recently in a TM7, or I don't think I did in the TM6, but I did it lots in a TM31 and a TM5. If you go too long, you're going to turn your cheese from grated little balls into paste. Totally not a problem. You just spread it on your sandwich instead of, things like that, but it's a little different to work with. A bit harder if you want to sprinkle it over a pizza, for example. So let's have a look at the grated, medium hard. Let's see how much I've got. I didn't pre-weigh it. Now I have cut it into chunks. Always with your cheese, it needs to go into a size, and I've made it smaller than required, but it has to fit between the knob in the center and the side of the bowl, otherwise it'll dance on top. It is best to be coming straight out of a fridge, so it is cool and cold and not soft, because otherwise you end up with a paste instead, which is not what the actual idea is. So 300 grams, hallelujah for that, I love that. So now we go tick, we put our lid on, and you can see it's speed 7. Now I do have a hot tip, okay? My recommendation when I was doing this before we had a chop mode on a TM6 is I always said grate your cheese on speed 8. Okay, speed 8 was my go-to. Now, don't know why we're on speed 7 for this, but that's okay. So speed 7, speed 8 for your TM31, TM5, but no more than, sorry I tapped mic, no more than 7 seconds, because you'll get the paste. You'll end up in paste, and make sure it is cold from the fridge. So I'm going to press play, have another bowl. I was tempted to stop it early, but at the same time I wanted to follow the process through. That's good, that's good. All right, so you can see now I've got this. Now often I'll put the grated cheese in a large Glad bag or the reusable pouches you've seen me use on many occasions, so that when it's in the freezer, I can actually, once it's partially frozen, re-break it up so that it stays apart. Your grated cheese you buy in a bag in the supermarket has a coating on it to stop it sticking together. It also kind of makes it hard for your stomach to digest it, which is why a lot of people don't actually buy it or enjoy eating it. This stuff has nothing to stop it sticking together. So if you leave it like this, it's going to, in the freezer, just stick all hard together. So best thing to do is to put it in something flexy if you're not going to use it within the next 2 days. And then as it's freezing, put a timer on for an hour and then break it up so that it's then going to be in little parts in the freezer. Okay, so I'll show you this final product here. And as I said, if you do happen to go too far and it becomes cream cheese, don't let it go to waste. Message me and I'll give you some recipe suggestions, because, I've done it too. Okay, so there you go. That is your softer cheese using the chopping mode in the Thermomix. Now I'm going to make a little side note here. The cutter. I know a lot of people love the grater for grating cheese. Now it's actually not in the instruction manual to do cheese, because if your cheese is soft and rubbery, it's hard for the Thermomix to do that through the cutter and give you those nice grates. If you are going to do that, cold cheese is a must, okay? And making sure your cutter is turning when you put it through, okay? If you do want to do that, and obviously not overloading your basket underneath, otherwise it's going to really struggle as well. But there's my hot tips if you are using the cutter, and you'll find in the instruction manual, it doesn't say doing soft cheese. And there's a reason, because it's not the best for it, but I know a lot of you are doing it. So I just want to give you those precautions around how to do it. So, cheese grating in the Thermomix, no nasties, you know exactly what's in it. Share this video with a friend or family member who has a Thermomix and needs to see what else they can do with their Thermomix, okay, to make their life easier and simple. If I can help you with your Thermomix, reach out. I do love to hear from you. Don't ever be a stranger. I love to know that you're enjoying the videos and you're actually getting more out of your Thermomix, right? Like that's what we're here for. So otherwise, I will see you in the next video soon. Take care and I'll see you then. Bye for now.